What's up and welcome back? Ho, 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 I'm John Stark, and I feel really old. And this is a Christmas movie. I'm a blind film critic, and this is The Merry Gentleman. It's available on Netflix. It has audio description. The audio description is excellent. I've already said that right up at the top because we're going to talk about the movie. And I know it seems like if you've been watching these that I'm a Grinch when it comes to these straight to streaming / cable Christmas movies. So while The Merry Gentleman does not elevate itself to like the level of a true holiday classic, this is one where I feel safe in saying I enjoyed this enough to recommend it for those who are like looking for a new Christmas movie. I didn't hate it. This was fun. Thank you. However, every time Britt Robertson is in a role now where she's like the old one, she was just in something last year, like the miseducation of someone. I can't remember what her character's name was. And she was like this character that was hired to go back to college and make the college kid seem... I was like, is Britt that old? I mean, she's 30, but does she look 30? Everybody has always played younger in Hollywood, always. And it's always been, when you look at the people and the ages of people, you've got people who are like playing high school students on TV who are like 30. So she's still within an eligible range to be like a lead on Glee. You know? So the fact that she's here and like we start off the film, she's performing in like a Broadway Christmas revue. She's I don't even know. She's a Jingle Bell or something. I couldn't follow the concept. I was like, please just use a real show. Can she just be a Rockette? Can we just ask the Rockettes if she can be a Rockette? I know she's probably not the right size or the look or whatever, but fuck it, who cares? At least people know what that is. So she is something in some show, but she gets too old. She's aged out. I was like, you don't age out on Broadway. You just age into another role. But like, people are like, no, you look too old. And so she gets fired for being too old. Anyway, so she goes home. That's the plot, by the way. And her parents run this like a speakeasy bar nightclub thing in this small town. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what to call it. It's a place. It's where everyone knows your name, and unfortunately they've fallen on hard times. The musical acts, they like to perform the larger venues. I'm like, the larger venues? Did your town like multiply in population? Like every one of these small town things, because they keep calling her a big city girl. This has to still be a small town. So where is the big venue that they go to? That the musical acts, they still... No, I mean, like, you're not going to get Beyonce to perform. I get that, but really? There are no, like, singer-songwriters that are looking for these kind of, like, dive bar gigs? Because I have them all over my town, and I'm in a major city. So, anyway, I guess they can't keep the doors open. They just, it's just too hard. They're not enough. This is really just a sign of economy. This is really just inflation. We have too many immigrants have come over and they've stolen all the jobs of performing musicians. I don't know, something's happened, but this business is failing. And so Britt Robertson has to save it by putting together basically Magic Mike. She basically puts together a Christmas version of Magic Mike. And Chad Michael Murray plays a handyman. He's very handy. He was handy on a One Tree Hill one time, too. Yeah, I like Chad as an actor, but He was also in that film earlier this year where he romanced Brooke Shields. Anyway, but Mother of the Bride on Netflix. So this is his like second Netflix appearance. I don't mind it. I mean, I'd rather him be on Netflix in Netflix movies because I think he's a better actor than he deserves than like throwing him into like some of those Hallmark movies with some people who were never really good actors to begin with and were really only on like one show and they just got canceled. Chad was kind of in a couple of things and he kind of deserves to be here. His name is big enough. He matches Britt Robertson well. They have chemistry. I liked it. Anyway, that's part of the reason why I was saying I liked this film at the beginning of it. I didn't say I loved it. I didn't say it was an instant classic. None of that. I just said it was an entertaining time. So, yeah, if you want to watch how that develops and see sort of the twists and turns along the way and how Britt Robertson is trying to stop a juice bar from coming in, it's like, what is this small town life and how does this work? You know, your bar can't support, like, has no musical acts to support, but they're going to put a juice bar in? Like, what is this town? So the audio description, which I really loved, was, let me just like I can actually remember one scene where I loved the specificity of it, not just in terms of character description, because character description is really good, and there's actually like a lot of like sort of definitions. I think definitions like, who are these characters, what do they look like, what is the representation in this film, is it like a Snow White blanket cast, or is it, you know, are there characters sort of representing everybody? And the answer is it represents everybody. But one of the funny things that I liked that really sort of stood out to me was, and I go, ooh, you know, like, because it's cute. Like, it's an extra little thing. You could have just said one thing, but you said the big thing. And she takes a bite of something, Britt Robertson, she's eating some, I can't remember what it is. I would assume a cupcake, maybe a donut. Who knows in this film. But after she took the bite, it said that her mouth was covered with chocolate frosting. Now, it could have just said frosting, but it said chocolate frosting. It actually wanted to give you sort of the concept of color and like what color frosting to look for. And also the food too, because it didn't want to say brown. Brown frosting is boring because she just ate something. So they made the logical conclusion that it was probably chocolate, you know? And I think that's an example of when you make the small choices, you know, not just the little segments of dancing where you're trying to describe the dance choreography, but when you're willing to sit down there and go, oh, she has frosting on her face, but what kind of frosting? You know, and you ask yourself like the deep questions. That's the kind of like attention to detail that really makes me go, oh, well, fuck, I love this. And this isn't even the first Christmas movie I've watched where I've been like, damn, the audio description of this is really actually pretty good. I have another review of something Lori Loughlin was in that was on Netflix, and the audio description in that also I thought was better than I expected it to be. So, but this is even better than that. Like, I liked the tone of the narrator more and everything. Just, it felt more like a complete movie. It felt like I was watching something that could have gone to theaters, even though I'm looking at this cast and I'm like, Britt Robertson, Chad Michael Murray, Marla Sokolov. I was like, this thing's not going to theaters. But it kind of feels like it could have. Like, it has a sheen of maybe, you know, maybe. In the way that we used to send lots of things to theaters because it was either theaters or straight to DVD, or, I don't know, Hallmark movie of the week. Like, there were just like less choices. So when you look at things that were cheesy back in the day, I'm going to pull out Sarah Michelle Gellar's Simply Irresistible as an example. Is that a great movie? Does that scream theatrical to you? Not really, but people were like, oh, well, Sarah Michelle Gellar's hot at the time, so we're going to put it in theaters. Didn't do well, but I don't think anybody even knows what I'm talking about. But it had sort of that same kind of vibe. Like, this could be like Simply Irresistible, or you know, some just kind of like light comedy that gets released around the holidays. And maybe it does some money, maybe it doesn't. But it's a holiday offering from a studio. And yeah, it's what I'm looking for from Netflix. It's what I didn't get in Hot Frosty. it's this is it. This is the filmmaking experience. This doesn't feel cheap. It doesn't feel like everything has been dumbed down or reduced. It feels like you made a Christmas movie. You made it sort of with the same veneer, the same sort of mentality of a Hallmark movie, but you elevated it. And that is what Netflix needs to do and has to do, because it can't just make the same thing that Hallmark and Great American Family and Lifetime make every single year for Christmas movies. They have to do better. There's a reason, you know what I'm saying? Like these streaming services, they have to do just a little bit more, you know, and not just regurgitate the same stuff. So this actually feels like it. And every time I've seen a film where I've given it a better grade, it's always been a film that felt a little bit above, like it was punching above its weight. Like something from Tiffany's. There was The Noel Diary, Christmas Chronicles. Some of those films, they're straight to streaming. One of those was an Amazon movie, by the way. But they all feel, Ape at Christmas, they all feel like they could have been movies, like actual, like in theaters. I could have gone and sat in a big screen back in the day and watched it and been like, oh, this is fine. Some of these other movies, it's like, no, this is a TV movie. And that's the difference. So I appreciate this movie a lot. I thought the audio description was fantastic. And believe it or not, I'm going to give The Merry Gentleman a B, which is like the highest grade I've given a Christmas, straight to whatever Christmas movie this year. It gets a little silly, but, and some of the stuff is like, she's really just doing magic. Is nobody going to say it? I kept waiting for somebody to be like Magic Mike. Is that what we're doing at Christmas? No, I guess they couldn't reference it. Just like they can't reference, maybe, I don't know, the Rockettes. So, but check it out. I'm actually saying you should check this out. That is me, a film critic, saying check out The Merry Gentleman. If you're looking for a Christmas movie, if this is your kind of vibe, I actually think this is one of the films you should check out. So, thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll see you guys on the other side.